When Michelle Roark turned 16 years old, her parents went through a very difficult divorce. After the divorce, her mother kicked her out of the house, and she spent the rest of her time in high school sleeping on couches at friends' places or living out in the woods in a tent by herself. She worked at a bakery, a movie theater, and a t-shirt shop to support herself throughout high school. But despite going through this very difficult time in her life, Michelle did not give up on her two dreams. One, she wanted to become an Olympian in a winter sport, and two, she wanted to become an engineer. When Michelle turned 16 and she was dealing with all this, she actually performed well enough to receive a sponsorship to compete in ski events. Now, although this was an exciting step, Michelle also knew that she was one bad performance, one mistake away from having that sponsorship pulled and having to give up on her career. So as she was pursuing this, she knew every step of the way that there was that threat of losing everything that she had worked for. Once Michelle graduated high school, she didn't forget about her desire to be an engineer. She enrolled in the Colorado School of Mines to become a chemical engineer. And engineering alone, with the curriculum that it involves, is very challenging. And on top of that, Michelle was attempting to be an Olympic athlete as well. But she was able to balance both. She graduated with her degree from the School of Mines. As far as being an athlete, Michelle went through a lot of setbacks. Over the course of her professional career, she had 7 surgeries on her knee. She missed the 98 and 2002 Olympics because of injuries, but she persisted. And in the back end of her career, she qualified for the 2006 and 2010 Olympics. After her professional career, she used her background in chemical engineering to launch 3 different businesses, which she now owns in the Denver area. Looking at Michelle's story is good for us to reflect on, because it goes to show that your background does not have to define you. Maybe you come from a very dysfunctional family. Maybe you come from a background where there's a lot of financial stress that's on you. Maybe you were born in the bad neighborhood in town, and there was this culture that tended to drag you down instead of build you up to pursue your dream. But what we need to realize is that your background, which you had no choice you were born into, your background does not define you. You are still in the driver's seat. Now, that being said, you may have to work harder than other people to accomplish your dreams. You may have to sacrifice more to achieve your dreams. But the reality stays the same, that you are in the driver's seat, and you get to choose how your life turns out by the choices that you will make. I mean, look at everything that was going against Michelle. She was in high school, she didn't have a home, did not have a family to support her, she was on her own financially, she was one mistake away from having her dream crushed, and then when she got to college she had the stress of academically trying to perform well, while being an athlete she had to deal with injuries, and yet despite all of these setbacks that she faced, she had the courage to continue to persevere and make those choices that were going to lead her to success. And so in our lives, we need to recognize that we are in control of the way our life turns out. It's important for us to put our background and these external factors and push them to the side so we can focus on what we are pursuing. This reminds me of the gospel story where Jesus walks on water and Peter attempts to do the same. As long as Peter had his focus on Christ, everything was going great for him. But as soon as Peter's attention shifts from Christ to the storm, things start to fall apart for him. He focuses on the stormy clouds, on the wind, on the waves. He starts to get nervous and he starts to sink. And the same thing happens to us when we focus on our background and the external factors that we have no control over. The more we let our background define our life, the more it will start to drag us down, just like the storm started to drag Peter down. So we should focus on the things we can control as opposed to the external factors we can't control. And when we focus on those things, it allows us to rise above our background, rise above the negative influences in our life, and do some incredible things, just like Michelle was able to. I hope you are inspired by Michelle's story to realize that your background does not define you. You belong in the driver's seat, and you need to own that. So get in the driver's seat, set your course, hit the gas, and head towards your dream. It may be a very difficult journey, but it's one that you have control over. Don't let the background define you. You define yourself.